Well, hello and welcome to a beautiful Sandown Park, one of the UK's premier racecourses, and we're so lucky to be here today to bring you the first live on BFBS Grand Military Gold Cup Day, and the race is only half an hour away, and thankfully, because of my lack of severe racing knowledge, we are joined by one of the military's own, Colonel Erica Bridge, who has not only been part of military racing for many years, but won this race yourself way back in 2016. So first of all, welcome, Erica, and just tell us a little bit about what it's like to be here and take part in a race day like this.
Well, thanks very much for having me, and we're lucky to be here today where it's not teeming down with rain. The conditions on the course are, you can certainly feel the rain they've had there, but I think for anybody who aspires to racing, this is our Cheltenham. This is a bit like the Army-Navy match at Twickenham. This is inter-services. It is open to anybody from any service, and in fact any military, any country in the world. So, but this is really is the high point, and it's a race that has got so much history, so many military connections, and it is just an extraordinary thing to be part of.
And as we filmed some lovely drone shots of the ground a few days ago, what's it like to be out there on that race course, knowing the history of it, and just like, you know, doing what you love, but at a place like this as well?
Well, I think there's no other sport where you're followed around by an ambulance. So I think you've always got to take that into account. And so there's a huge amount of preparation that goes into it in terms of fitness, in terms of getting out to ride out for other trainers, because it's not a guarantee that you have a horse to ride. So you've got to deem yourself to be good enough for a trainer to put you up on a horse that is, you know, in racing, that is its job. It's a professional athlete as well, with an owner who is paying money for that horse to be in training. And then you also have the public who are possibly betting on you as well. So there is no other sport like that. which we as the military can take part in. So there are a lot of other pressures, but that's the last thing you're thinking about.
And yeah, we've got to remember that it's for amateur riders, amateur jockeys, and these men and women all have day jobs, but to have that commitment to racing at the same time is incredible.
Yeah, but I think it's one of those things. There's a lot of adrenaline there. It's a very, very exciting sport. There is nothing like it, and you'll see when they come across the finish line, either they're very, very tired people, or the adrenaline that is just keeping you going through is extraordinary. So 7 minutes might not seem like a long time, but it is a sprint out there. But you're holding half a ton of horse that has a mind of its own. That you are just hoping you're giving it every reason to jump the fence in front of you and for you to get it in the right place at the right time. So there's a lot going on. And I think the great thing about military racing, it's an individual sport, but everybody knows that we're all in the same position. And we also know that it's a high-profile sport. Fantastic that we're on BFBS this year. Really good news, and please keep that going. But also, we're on the racing channels, so the public can see it. And you've got people who come and watch the racing, who are watching us as amateur riders, riding on the same day as professionals who are coming in who do this job every day.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's look back at last year's race, which was held here, of course, still at Sandown Park. Let's look back at the 2024 Grand Military Gold Cup.
And they're off in the Grand Military Gold Cup. Ridden by Major Will Kellard, is out in front, and the trainer Jamie Snowden, having ridden the winner 4 times, is now a winning trainer in the Grand Military Gold Cup.
Major Will Kellard then winning on Face de Large for the first time last year, and conveniently, Erica, he is first on our list of the race card. So do you want to quickly go through the 6 runners and riders we have today?
Absolutely. I'm going to go through them, but I'm not going to tell anybody what to put their money on, please, so please don't hold me accountable for that. So Will and Face de Large, they won both military races last year. The horse is in great form. Jamie Snowden is a former King's Royal Hussar officer himself, backed with there's a big sort of military following, and I think he stands a really good chance. Big, strapping horse. It's going to be quite sapping ground out there. He'll be good. Nick Oliver on Hold That Taut. Superb trainer in Venetia Williams. She had a choice of 2 horses and she's gone for this. So there's a reason why she's gone for this. This is Nick's 501st ride, and I really hope he wins this. Ben Durrell, ex-King's Troop. His son is in racing as well, and the trainer has just won the horse at the last military race. Okay. So that's got to be a good sign. The betting, I think, the market looks quite good for that. Nathan Rahmer's just won the last race. His adrenaline will be out of this world, and he knows the horse well. He really rates it as well, so he's got a good chance. And then you come to the 2 that are owned by their riders. So both Doug White and Vicky Sollett know their horses inside out, and that counts for quite a lot. So don't discount them. And Doug's horse ran a cracking race last year, I think, to come second. Vicky, I think, will also she will give her horse a cracking ride as well. So I think there's There's a lot to like in all 6 of them.
Essentially, all bets are off. But let's look at the course, because the riders were on there earlier, checking out what they've got to face in the 3 o'clock race.
Well, a crucial part of any horse race is the course walk, especially for the jockeys. And if I can pick out of the pack here, he's sitting neatly behind the leading group at the moment, is Nathan Rahman. Now, Nathan is one of the leading protagonists when it comes to military horse racing. Nathan, what is so significant about you guys getting a chance to do the course walk early on?
Well, in regards to horse racing, we're losing a lot of traditional aspects of it. As you can see from the Cheltenham Fox Hunters, we've lost the terminology as well as other races. It's just, this brings back to the roots, of the roots of racing, where military connections were so strong, and it's a great honour to be able to be part of that and be part of history essentially, because the numbers are dwindling down, but we're trying to research the numbers and research the interest in the public.
Well, that's great when it comes to the overall event, but when it comes to actual doing the course walk, you're a partnership. It's you and your mount, your horse. So this walk now, what is this telling you?
So basically, once we're walking on the course now, we're looking at the ground. Various horses like different types of ground. There might be a certain softer patch that you might want to avoid. There might be a certain harder patch you might want to go towards. So we're just summing up. There might be holes, divots. The ground might be undulating even. So all we're doing now is just getting a quick glance at the ground and see roughly what the reflection is. And it plays a big part then into your tactics during the race.
Now, many of you riders do point-to-point. What is the difference between a point-to-point event and then coming to one of the leading premier horse racing venues in the country?
It's a big step up. The quality in the ground, the quality in the fences. You're also looking at the quality of horses. They're very different. Although point-to-point is stepping up this game, and we're getting very good horses coming down from the professional ranks. But just from the ground up, it's just. It's amplified. Everything's so much grander, so much more consideration taken into it. Point-to-point does a great job in trying to ensure that tracks are safe and that horses are well looked after. But here is just, this is the creme de la creme. This is your Old Trafford, as you might put it in the football world.
Yeah, well, I reckon if this was the pitch at Old Trafford, the groundsman might have a few things to say about it today. What are you expecting from this race? A very small field, just the 6 of you today. What are you hoping for?
So I've got a horse that ran very well in the Fox Hunters last year. It's his reappearance, so I'd just like to have a safe jump around. We've got some really good horses coming from Venetia Williams and from Jamie Snowden, and I think it's going to be a good tussle up towards the front. And I think sometimes this race throws a curveball every now and then, and I think today might be one of those days potentially.
Well, Nathan, we're coming up to the first fence. It's going to be difficult for our cameraman Lewis to jump it, especially going backwards. Yep. So we shall give you all the very best. Good luck, inspect that fence, and we shall see how you get on later on. Perfect. Cheers, Nathan.
Thank you.
Julian Evans there with Nathan Rahman, who of course will be featuring in the 3 o'clock race. But we're going to concentrate on last year's winner, Will Kellard, and we went to see him at his stables with Jamie Snowden.
I'm Major Will Kellard. I'm a Royal Lancer, currently serving in headquarters SJC down in Aldershot. This is Frank. I've been a military jockey for about 10 seasons now. I was lucky enough to win on Fasseur de Large, win the Grand Military Gold Cup and the Royal Artillery Gold Cup, both of them last year. His nickname's Frank the Tank. It's the heaviest horse on the yard.
Does that make him a good on the chase though?
I mean, it's not a rule of it's not a rule you can necessarily abide by. He's just a big boy. It does mean that he is. You can almost describe him as a bit of an armchair ride. He's a big strapping boy, and certainly fills you with confidence that he's sort of got the size and power to jump the fences. They don't feel very big on him, to be honest. I've ridden plenty of horses that make the fences feel a bit bigger than he does. In the wider scheme of things in racing, they're probably relatively small fry. I mean, they're good races, and Sandown Park is a premier racetrack. But I mean, they in terms of how they fit in, they are one of many days and one of many races. But to us that are involved in it, and as you say, Jamie's got a connection because he was serving and has won the races before. They are important, and then they are part of racing's heritage. they are some of the oldest fixtures in the racing calendar.
Jamie Snowden, I think I was a captain a long time ago. So I joined in, I went to Sandhurst in 2001, commissioned 2002, and commissioned into the King's Royal Hussars as a second lieutenant, and somehow rose to the rank of captain. God knows how or why, but I ended up being a captain and retired 3 years afterwards to get into racing.
Let's hope the rain arrives in time.
I know, and the wind hopefully isn't as bad as they say it's going to be. There's a band of rain coming tomorrow, and then I think it'll be perfect.
Let's hope it hits Sandown.
Yeah, I think it's meant to.
When I was at Sandhurst, I was on guardroom duty one evening, and there was a knock on the guardroom door, and I was ushered up into the commandant's office, and obviously I thought I'd done something seriously wrong, put my heels together and threw in a salute, and he said, Snowden, he said, you can ride horses, can't you? I said, well, yeah, I can do. He said, and he explained the story how he was in the Royal Irish Regiment, and they had leased a horse to run in the Grand Military Gold Cup the following day, and their jockey Lucy Horner was actually over in Northern Ireland, and there was a mortar attack on her base, and she couldn't fly back, so they needed a last-minute sub to ride in the Grand Military Gold Cup the following day. So the following day, the rest of my platoon they were on gas chamber training, so they turned left into the gas chamber, and I turned right and got into the commandant's car and got taken off to Sandown and rode a horse called Folly Road. Funnily enough, we're training at Folly House now. Strange how coincidences happen. I was riding a horse called Folly Road, and Folly Road was a 20-1 shot, and he won.
The start he got in racing because of his involvement when he was riding in these races, that then allowed him to create connections with some of the biggest trainers around the country as an assistant, and then where he is now. I've heard him say it before. Is there's a large part of it that came from the opportunities that were made available to him through the military racing. So. As you say, he's gone on to huge things and is having great success in the wider world of racing now, which is fantastic. I'd say, the Grand Military Trophy will remain on his mantelpiece for a long time, I think, alongside some of those other big trophies that he's got. It's close to his heart and important to him.
I think it's good down the back there at the moment. But we want the rain to hit Sandown and miss Cheltenham. Yeah.
2024, 11 years after attempting the first time to win it, we finally won it. So it was a very satisfying moment when we did win it last year with Fassa Delage, and it was great to follow up in the Royal Artillery.
See you on Friday, Frank.
Yeah.
You're gonna win again.
Well, as we await to see those horses and the 6 jockeys, well, the horses more importantly, go around the parade ring. Erica, we just wanted to talk a little bit. I mean, I mistakenly said Will's stables. They're not his stables, obviously they're Jamie Snowden's, but there is a military link with both of them. But it's really important to you guys who are still involved in military racing to make sure the message gets across that it's open to everyone.
It is absolutely open to everybody. So all 3 services. This year we only have Army and Navy riders, but that's great. We've had Air Force riders in the past, and we'd love to have some more Royal Air Force riders coming in. And they come from a variety of backgrounds. Some have come through the military mounted ceremonial background, either through the King's Troop or the House of Cavalry. Some come from a racing background, and some just hadn't really done very much before. So Vicky came through from riding anyway, and she had an eventing background, and then had a look at racing and thought that looks like a lot of fun. And she has absolutely thrown herself into it. She's come second on one of her own horses beforehand. She's actually bought herself pointer-pointers so that she can come and do these races too. But again, you've other people who have just ridden for fun beforehand. So you don't have to be an Olympic level eventer to be able to get into this sport. But you do need to be fit, you need to have the commitment, but there are a lot of people out there who will help to make that happen, and that's the really important thing. It's that sense of commitment just to keep going, and we have enough people who can help to engage the chain of command to help them understand, to try and get people the time off. But it is so exciting, and if we can get some more people to make the most of this, that would be amazing.
Well, let's hope that someone watching today, our live for the first time, will pick up on that. But Jules is going to try and recruit a Chelsea pensioner.
In good form here today.
Well, look, I'm delighted to say that no military event would be complete without somebody from Chelsea Hospital here.
Oh,
and I've got Yorkie Leighton. Yorkie, you're a veteran of 16 Grand Military Gold Cups.
Round about that, yeah.
You're round about that.
Yeah.
Is there? I thought it was Princess Anne Security, but I'm guessing they're the guys carrying your winnings, are they?
Not really. No, when I said 16, I've been here 16 times. Probably Military Cup 12, 13. Yeah.
You're back again. What is so special, do you think, about the Grand Military Gold Cup?
Well, we see amateur, soldiers.
Correct, yeah.
Well, not only soldiers, from all three services. And it's nice to see that,
What have you done with everybody else? Are they all in the warm having cups
they're
of
all in
tea?
there having tea,
Spending their winnings, no doubt.
Well, maybe some of them are, yeah.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
how this works.
Yeah.
Have you got your eye on a particular mount this afternoon for the
Yes.
Gold Cup? Can you share with us who it
Yeah,
is?
Black Jerry.
Black Cherry.
Black Jerry.
And that's the
Each
one
way.
by Ben Durrell riding that, isn't
That's
it?
right, the bandsman, I believe he is. I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
Well, we shall see how he gets on. Thank you so much for your time. Good luck this afternoon. If you win, we'll be loitering behind you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
Cheers.
Back to Kath.
Wonderful times, and another wonderful institution that is the Chelsea Pensioners, of course. Thank you to Julian Evans. Now, as we're going to hopefully see some pictures of the horses in the parade ring, first of all, how important is it they're sort of seen? And if we start in the same order again, we'll go from Fassa de Large, who obviously was last year's winner. Tell us a little bit more about those horses as they show us off or show themselves off in the parade ring.
So as they go around the parade ring, you'll note Fassa de Large to begin with, because he's a big grey horse. He stands out. He looks absolutely first class, and he looks really, really well. And if you're going to be jumping the big fences you've got at Sandown, you want to have something underneath you that's got a big engine, and that it's going to really take on those fences. So, Will has absolutely got that. You'll be able to see Hold That Taut quite easily, because Venetia Williams likes to let her horses go out, so she likes to turn them out into the fields. And so quite often they will have a clip, which means that they've got the top bit is their coat, and they're clipped underneath so that they stay warm when they're out. So you'll be able to see that. That's number 2, Hold That Taut, that's going around as well. As I say, he's the pick of the Venetia Williams yard for this race, so I think that's got to count for a lot. Black Jerry, just looking at his form, he came second last season. Let's hope he can go one more. And these two, so that the Hold That Thought and Fassa de Large will carry £5 extra. So they're carrying more weight because of the races that they've won. So they've been penalised for that. Everybody else is running off 12 stone. So actually that makes a little bit of a difference. And the weight is what the jockeys weigh, but it's also their saddle and anything that goes, and the girths and everything else. So that's one thing to bear in mind if you're going to race. If you're a prop or you're a heavyweight boxer, it might be a bit of a struggle. But Black Jerry, I think, has got a really good chance. Django has been point-to-pointing, and he'll go hunter chasing, which is the professional riding, if you like, for the horses that run in point-to-points. But he's Nathan's pick, so I think he probably thinks quite highly of this horse as well. Phil Darian, as we said, loved this course last year. And I think if you've got a horse that takes to Sandown, that's a really good thing in its favour. Steady the Ship, I don't know much about, but the fact that Vicky rides him every day and she knows the horse inside out, she is a seriously good horsewoman, and she will pilot that horse to the best of her ability. So please don't ask me to pick. Because I think that would be quite unfair.
It's difficult as well because you're picking friends as well. The jockeys are people you know as they, as they enter into this race. As you said, it's a really tight-knit community, so it's really hard for you to sort of pick a name out as they go past us there.
No, but I think it's worth just perhaps knowing a little bit more about the jockeys who are going out. So of the people going out, actually, I think the majority at the moment are still serving. Mm-hmm. So Will Kellard is working at Andover at the moment in a staff job, working extremely hard. So the fact that he's managed to find the time to come and do this is extraordinary. And then he'll go off and be a squadron leader with the Royal Lancers very soon. So that's brilliant. He's managed to keep the career going as well. Nick Oliver, his brother trains, so he's obviously grown up riding, but then has had the most extraordinary career in the Intelligence Corps as well. So he again is just one of these incredible people who can manage to do everything. He also has a business line that I think he and his wife run, which is doing, I think they make sort of sauces and seasonings. So he's a chef on the side as well. And he manages to keep his weight down, so that's pretty good going. Ben Durrell started off with the King's Troop and then went into racing, and his son's in racing too.
And did he retire but come back when he saw his son was having so much fun?
Exactly that. exactly that. So you can come back into it, and as long as you still bounce, that helped too. Nathan is again a sergeant. So the great thing is it's a mixture. It used to be an officer sport, or seemed to be an officer sport. It's absolutely not. Every rank can take part in this. I kept going till a half colonel, and then I thought it was time to give up. But Nathan is a serving sergeant with the Royal Welsh. He's been doing all sorts of jobs within the battalion, but he's also been training recruits. He's been doing a recruiting job, and I can think of nobody better as a role model for young people to want to aspire to be than somebody like Nathan. And Doug has been a reservist, so it's not all the regulars as well. He was with the Royal Wessex Yeomanry, which would have been the traditional amateur jockeys, I suppose, who would be the yeomen. And then Vicky was regular, and then she carried on as a reservist for a while longer as well in the Royal Navy. So she brings the senior service into play as well. And so it's going to be really exciting to see how they all get on today.
Now, you say you gave up when you got to half colonel, thought it was time to give up, but how sweetly do you remember that win here in 2016?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, there is the adrenaline rush that you get, where you just know that somebody's put their faith in you. I mean, I set off as the favourite because the horse had won in the last race. It won its last race. And I spoke to the trainer just before I went up. He slapped me on the thigh and said, "By the way, you're favourite." So I looked down and said, "No pressure." And he just looked at me and said, "Pressure is for tyres. Now get on and ride it." So, you know, it is extraordinary. And we are so privileged to be able to ride at a racecourse like this as well. You know, it is one of the best in the country, and the best horses and the best professional jockeys come and ride here, and they allow us space in the weighing room to come and have our day as well. Yeah. But it's a great day for people to come and watch as well. You know, and if we can just try and get people from the serving community to come and watch and support our people, because as I say, so much effort goes into getting them up there. It would be great for more people to actually come and enjoy the day as well.
Now, I can see from the pictures that the jockeys are now mounting, so they're on their way to the start line. What's going through your head at that point? I mean, you obviously had the slap on the thigh to say no pressure, but what are they thinking about? What's going through their head?
So they'll be getting their last few words from the trainer. You'll see they're getting a leg up now. Vicky's just been given a leg up by her trainer. You'll have whoever's leading up, so the person on the leading rein will just be helping to steady the horse. You see most of them have got a hand on the horse's neck, trying to just keep the horse nice and steady just so they can get out onto the track without too many fireworks or excitement. And, you know, the horses, of course, are full of adrenaline at this stage. They know what's coming. They know they're about to be galloping 30 miles an hour, and they want to win as much as the jockeys do. So, you know, number 5 is about to be, Doug's about to be given a leg up as well. He's obviously waited a little bit longer to let the others go out, and then he'll make his way down. What they're then going to do is they'll take the horses down to the start. So you want to give the horses, bearing in mind they've probably travelled here in a lorry. They know what's coming, they're getting excited, they've just been walking around the paddock, and they're probably getting a little bit chilly, so you want to warm them up to get to the start, so you'll see them cantering down. And what you really hope is that your horse isn't going to take off with you going down to the start, because that's never a good thing either. And I think there have been a few professionals and amateurs who have parted company on the way down, but these all look really settled. The riders look as if they're just ready for this.
Because it's quite a long walk down. A lot of people sort of remember Sandown for the long walk from the parade ring to the start. So, yeah, and I was just looking, Will Kellard leading them out. Is that normal? Does it matter just because he won last year and he's number 1? Is that a reason, or is there no specific order?
I think it's just whoever's ready and they want to get you down there. And then you can see the mounted escorts from the King Street Royal Horse Artillery as well, looking jolly smart. And again, those horses will just be down there to sort of a bit of a backdrop so that the race horses can then go on afterwards. And then they'll just do a nice steady canter down to the start, say, just to get the horse moving a little bit, just as if you were going to be warming up yourself, whether you're going to be playing rugby or going for a run or something like that. You just want to get the joints moving a little bit, you want to get the blood flowing a bit. And then what they'll probably do is they'll take them down to the first fence. So whilst a horse, and it's a mental preparation for the horse as well. So physically you're preparing it, but you're going to take it down and then you show them the fence. So the horse is then seen from the start line down to that first fence. It's absolutely logging in what is happening now.
One thing that Will said about Frank the Tank, Fassa Delage, as he's more popularly known, is that he's a bit of an armchair ride. So he sails over, given his size, sails over those jumps. I mean, that must be a real confidence booster.
Absolutely. I mean, if you've got a horse that, as I say, he's a big horse, and he's built for this sort of ground, and he's built for this sort of course. But, you know, the smaller horses can be very athletic as well. Yeah, I think if I was going to be choosing a ride, I think I'd probably be following Will. I think he's going to have a great spin on that horse.
Yes, I mean, I fell in love with Frank the Tank, has to be said, on Wednesday. But there are obviously 5 other riders out there, and we wish them all the best as we get ever closer. And the crowd's gathering now to watch this great race that it is. We've obviously already had the hurdle today, but the Grand Military Gold Cup very close to starting. So I'm going to leave you now with the pictures of the start of this race, and do enjoy, and we'll be back here, and so will Erica, after the race to give you our reaction.
Ridden, owned and trained as well by Douglas White. Fine effort to get his horse here in such good shape, Fidarian. So the runners at the post then for the 2025 running of the Grand Military Gold Cup. Farceur du Large, last year's winner, 8-11 favourite to repeat the feat. Black Jerry 5-1, Fidarian is 13-2. Hold That Taut is 9-1, Django 12, and Steady the Ship 16-1. Race card, incidentally, full of information about the history of this famous old race, the Grand Military Gold Cup. Particularly enjoyed reminiscing from 40 years ago. The day when Special Cargo won this race. Special Cargo was, for those of us of a certain vintage, a fabulous horse owned by the Queen Mother. Great days. Out on the track now, the hounds of the Royal Artillery Hunt are parading. 6 joint masters, 3 of whom are military. Charles Carter is joint master and amateur huntsman, and is parading the hounds today. The Royal Artillery Hunt remains very much a military hunt and exists for the benefit of the soldiers, officers and dependents of the Royal Regiment of Artillery and the wider defence community. The hunt also maintains close links with the King's Troop, Royal Horse Artillery and the Honourable Artillery Company. The Royal Artillery has hunted a pack of hounds on and around Salisbury Plain since 1907, and hounds are kennelled at Bulford Barracks in the heart of the hunt country, where they have been since they evolved from being a pack of harriers to modern English foxhound in 1934. Today they enjoy trial hunting twice a week on Wednesdays and Saturdays from August through to April, amounting to over 70 outings a season. Commencing from the opening meet at the Royal Artillery Officers' Mess at Larkhill, and thereafter being hosted by many regiments in many establishments on and around Salisbury Plain. The support base remains predominantly military, both serving personnel and their dependents, but there's also a very strong civilian membership and very many veterans as well. The Royal Artillery Hunt could not be more pleased of support from all quarters, and delighted to be here today. We're delighted to see the hounds out on the track ahead of this famous, prestigious race. Runners coming out onto the track now. Farceur du Large, the grey, last year's winner. trying to put himself along the names of Special Cargo and Burnt Oak as a dual winner of this race. He's a short price favourite to go in again. Coming in then. And they're off and racing, jumping away for the Grand Military Gold Cup. Farceur du Large, one of the first ones to show, has company early from Hold That Taut towards the inside. Black Jerry sits on the outside of the field, the first of 22 fences coming right up. All just about safely over it, although Nathan Rahman aboard Django in last place had to sit tight after landing awkwardly. Ahead of him is Fidarien and Steady the Ship, also well in touch. So down the far side of the track they go, and the line of 7 fences for the first time. And on the outside, Black Jerry disputes the lead and landed just in front. Black Jerry from Farceur du Large, and in third place and close up, Hold That Taut. They're followed by Fidarien on the outside of Steady the Ship. Django to the rear end of the field. Here's fence number 4. Black Jerry produced a big jump on the outside and took over with a convincing lead. So Black Jerry wide on the track. Farceur du Large, the grey, in second place, and Hold That Taut with him on the inside. Fidarien is close up now ahead of Steady the Ship. And after Steady the Ship, a little gap still to Django, our back marker. Now they race towards the railway fences for the first time. So Black Jerry to the wide outside in the 2 shades of green in the hands of Benjamin Durrell, touching down just in front. There was a small mistake there from Steady the Ship, but okay in 5th place. Here's the middle of the railway fences. Black Jerry that time did not get very high as well, clouted that fence, and Benjamin Durrell sat tight. At the next, much better there, Black Jerry. And all still stand and race away from the final one of their railway fences on this early circuit. So Black Jerry, one mistake to his name, but galloping on enthusiastically. Benjamin Durrell taking him wide here, which is an interesting ploy. He's staying very wide round the bend in search of better ground. He's being pursued by Farceur du Large in second place. Fidarien is in third, followed by Hold That Taut and Steady the Ship. And the back marker is Django. On they go towards the pond fence then for the first time. Black Jerry, the leader towards it. Farceur du Large right up the inside, and Fidarien comes through between the two of them with a good jump to take up the running. So Fidarien and Douglas White now show to the front ahead of Black Jerry and Farceur du Large. Hold That Taut now back in 4th place with Steady the Ship. Django still the back marker, coming now towards the 2 fences in the home straight, and then of course they'll go round again. So nearing halfway, the leader is Fidarien, just in front from Black Jerry and Farceur du Large over on the far side. All 3 over safely, followed by Steady the Ship. Hold That Taut, drop to the rear of the field, keeping company now with Django, but they're in touch. Only 6 lengths cover the field of 6 as they move past the judge with a circuit to go. So this is the 2025 running of the Grand Military Gold Cup. And up front, very tight to choose between Black Jerry, who steered a wide course throughout the race. Out in front from Fidarien with Farceur du Large, content to just race, held up against the inside running rail. Steady the Ships on that one's outside. Another little gap then back to Hold That Taut. And the back marker is Django. On they head down towards the next fence with Fidarien leading. This is the fence on the side of the course. Still got 11 fences left to take. A lot of jumping still to be done. Leader Fidarien with Black Jerry to the outer. Farceur du Large right on their tail in 3rd place as they approach this plain fence. All 3 jump well there. Just a little bit sticky with Steady the Ship, who's alongside Hold That Taut, and Django still in last place. So now they head down the far side of the track for a final time. Fidarien, Douglas White, 1 length clear of Black Jerry and Benjamin Durrell in 2nd place. Farceur du Large, last year's winner, in 3rd. The flamboyant grey under Will Kellard. Then there's a little bit of a break to Steady the Ship, and Vicky Solit in 4th place. Django's improved 1 place in the hands of Nathan Rahman. And the back marker is now Hold That Tour to Nick Oliver, taking the next of their fences. And Fidarian out in front still. Black Cherry remains handy though. Farceur du Large just in behind them in their slipstream, a couple of lengths back in 3rd place. Here's the water jump before the 3 railway fences. Over this one. And all 6 handle that okay. So now 6 more fences left to take in the Grand Military Gold Cup. Fidarian leading still from Black Cherry in 2nd place. Farceur du Large in 3rd. Farceur du Large hit that in 3rd place. Small mistake from Django on the outside. Hold That Taut towards the inner and steady the ship, just the back marker over the next fence. And now the last over on the far side. Fidarian, this is 4 from the finish. The last of the fences down the back straight. Fidarian still leading from Black Cherry in 2nd place. Farceur du Large attempting to win it for the 2nd year running, is in 3rd place, 4 lengths back. Still looking comfortable though. Hold That Taut is into 4th place, just ahead of Django, and Steady the Ship is last of all. They're just starting to up the ante a little bit now, with 3 more fences left to take in the Grand Military Gold Cup. Fidarian still leading. Black Cherry has always been close to the pace. Farceur du Large still watching on in 3rd. Then comes Django and Hold That Taut. Steady the Ship looks a long way back. This is the 3rd last fence. Fidarian, good jump. Maintain the lead. Black Cherry going to work in 2nd. Farceur du Large right in behind them as the turn for home now unfolds. A little gap to Hold That Taut, who's trying to stay on, and Django now looks held in 5th place. 2nd last fence. And there, a cracking jump from Fidarian. Farceur du Large is going to try and run him down. Black Cherry in behind him in 3rd place. He switched Farceur du Large once. He switches him again in behind Fidarian, who still leads at the last. Fidarian over safely. Farceur du Large now has the hill ahead of him. A hill he climbed so gamely last year, but Fidarian is a match this afternoon. Fidarian, what a moment this is for Douglas White. Fidarian. Owner, trainer and rider Douglas White can take a bow. He's won the Grand Military Gold Cup. Fidarian beats Farceur du Large. Black Cherry and Hold That Taut next.
The outcome of race 4. First, number 5, Fidarian. 2nd, number 1. 3rd, number 3. And the 4th placed horse, number 2. The provisional result of the 4th race, the Grand Military Gold Cup. First, number 5, Fidarian. 2nd, number 1, Farceur du Large. 3rd, number 3, Black Cherry. And the 4th placed horse, number 2, Hold That Taut.
Well, Erica, I mean, is that out of left field? Was that against the betting? What's your feeling? A great win for Doug there.
Absolutely fantastic. You know, here is somebody who owns the horse, he's trained it himself, and he's ridden it as well. And that really doesn't happen very often these days. And when you look at the competition he was up against, he's up against professional trainers who have, you know, a huge amount of horses to pick from. And so, you know, huge credit to Doug. I mean, that is a brilliant riding performance because he judged that absolutely perfectly. He had Farceur du Large breathing down his neck. And that's a big horse to have breathing down your neck. And he held him on the line. And what you can't really see from the footage, if you're on the course and you're at the bottom of the hill, it is much more of a hill, particularly if you've already been round, you know, your last bit of 3 miles. It's really hard work. So he held them together. And yeah, that was a fantastic performance.
And it was good to soft the ground. Obviously with the amount of rain that we had yesterday, but you talked specifically about the line that Will Kellard took as opposed to what Doug took, which was that he possibly got a little bogged down on the inside.
Yeah, so it's called a pond fence for a reason. So it's where the natural dew pond is at the bottom of the course, and there are some bits that can get really quite wet. There's nothing you can do about it, but that's why, as you showed beforehand, they walk the course. So what they're doing when they're walking the course is they're looking to see which bits of ground they want to get. Now, sometimes in the race you just don't have the ability to move around as flexibly as you'd like to, but I think you could see when you see the replay, as they came up to the pond fence, Will really did hit hit the mud at that stage, and I just wonder whether that slowed him down a little bit. But he's got a big, powerful horse there who really tried his heart out. And again, you know, it was fantastic. I think all 6 came home in one piece, and a really, really excellent show of riding from all of them.
I know there were only 6 in the race, but is it unusual to see them so sort of bunched together? You know, did you expect a split at any point? Because they were all quite in with a chance at some point.
Yeah, no, and it was I think you'd look at that race and you'd look at some of the professional races, and they gave a cracking performance there. You know, it looked really good. They were all riding well. They kept it together. And you're right, sometimes it can turn into a bit of a parade, but it was well paced. So whoever's at the front judged that really well.
And we're seeing pictures now. Yes, Douglas White has come into the winners' enclosure, and Phil Darien, what a beautiful, I mean, they're all beautiful, but yeah, how does that horse look to you close up?
Do you know what? He's obviously got him really fit. I mean, that horse is still looking perky, isn't he? He's he's looking a very happy horse, and you know, he's looking in good order.
Tell us a little bit. I mean, how special? I mean, Doug's probably got family and friends to sort of help him out here, as it's his horse as well. I mean, that connection's amazing.
I mean, that is, for him, this will be the best day in racing he has ever had. You know, the fact that he's done that all himself is huge for him. So really thrilled for him, and actually a great thing for the reserves as well, that they've got a reserve winner as well.
And just a word about, I mean, Will Kellard, winner from last year, really pushed it in that final 100 metres. You could see what that meant to him to try and win it twice.
No, absolutely, and you could see him pushing from the bottom, and when he took that inside line down by the pond fence, that was the time that Will was starting to put the pressure on, and as he came around the bottom corner, he was perfectly positioned on the inner, and you know, today it wasn't his day, but he's brought his horse back looking in good order as well. We can see Farceau de Large in the background, who's having some water put on him, and they're just leading him around to cool him off, but you know, the horses have come back looking well, looking happy, and they'll be good for hopefully for another race in the Royal Artillery in 3 weeks' time.
And of course, Doug now has to go into the weighing room, get all the official stuff out of the way. We will speak to him a bit when he pops out again. So, Erica, I'm just going to keep asking you about, about the future of events like this, because we want to keep this going. You know, military racing wants to keep this connection going. I mean, it's in a healthy place, isn't it? I mean, just look at the amount of people who are here today.
Yeah, and I think it's also really good for Sandown as well. You know, it's that relationship that we all try and balance perfectly, which is between the military and civilian society. And, you know, here you've got Sandown Park, who are, you know, a professional commercial racecourse, but they're happy to have us here. And actually they love having us here because we add something different to the day. You know, you've got a band here, you've got all sorts of... if you go into the Esher Hall today, there's lots to go and see and lots to do. And there are people in military. We've got a bunch of the defence attaches from other countries around the world who've come today as well. I was chatting to people from South Korea, from New Zealand, from all over the world, and they're experiencing this as well. So it is the most extraordinary day where military and racing meet together, bound by so many years of history, that it's one of those traditions that is incredibly special and long may it last.
And was it Doug who said he was thinking of retiring? Is that, or was it Benjamin Durrell? I can't remember. But you said, you know, this is quite an addictive sport, that Benjamin's come back because his son is so keen on the racing and involved in the racing. Is it quite an addictive sport in that way?
It is one of the most exciting sports. Anybody who loves their sport will probably tell you that as well. But as I say, if you're riding at over 30 miles an hour over the big fences that you've got here at Sandown, you've got that element of competition. There's a huge element of risk and danger, which you mitigate through training. So they've all been to the British Racing School. They've all done their fitness tests every year. They've all passed the training courses they need to do. But there is nothing that can replace that feeling. And that's what, if you can bottle that, then I'm sure we'd all be millionaires. But don't do that. Come and race instead.
So we're just going to wait until the riders have gone inside, and they have to go and do the official stuff, like get weighed, just check that, you know, that's all ticking a few boxes, and we will wait to speak to Doug, but we also hope to speak to Nathan Rahman at some point as well, because Nathan, of course, winning that hurdle. How does the hurdle differ from I mean, obviously it's a hurdle and not a steeplechase, but just as tough and just as sort of tough on the body and on the horse?
Yeah, so two different things that are different. First of all, the distance, so it's 2 miles, so it's much more of a sprint. So that means it's faster and furious, and the fences are smaller, and there are fewer of them. So it's a different race to judge. But in terms of how this day plays out, the fact that we have two races on the card is incredible. But to do the hurdle race to begin with, where you are really riding that much more quickly, is a great way of getting the adrenaline up, and then that puts you in the right frame of mind to jump the bigger fences, which you've got a mile extra, so you have to pace yourself, so it will possibly look like a slightly slower race, but those are big stiff fences and you don't want to come down on those.
And just tell us, how much do you have to do? I am sort of aware that we're just waiting for the interviewees to come out, but how much do you still ride? Is it something, once you've done a race like this, once you've been a jockey in a fast horse race, is anything else just a little bit smaller than that, or are you still sort of very much involved?
So I sit on the committees for today, for the Grand Military and also for the Royal Artillery Gold Cup. So we're always trying to find people to come and ride. So, and that would be my message to anybody, that if you think you might be interested or you ride, please get in touch with your Service Equitation Association, and they can then put you in touch with us. And hopefully we can get you on that journey to help people, to put them in touch with a racehorse trainer. We can get you riding out regularly, and then we can just help to build people up. And to be able to share this sport with many other people is something that I and the rest of the team are really working hard to do.
And I know that HRH Princess Anne is here today, obviously very involved in this world, and of course she's here and she's been talking to a lot of military, potentially, cadets who could join up at stuff like that. So really good to have her on board and have her present at a day like today.
Yeah, absolutely. It really raises the profile, and we're incredibly lucky that she's taken on to be the patron of the race day. And obviously Her Majesty the Queen did that for many, many years beforehand. So the fact you have that level of interest in this is absolutely fantastic. But with the cadets as well, it's another way of where we sort of cross over, and fantastic to see them here today.
Well, I tell you what, they're probably going to be giving out prizes now, so I'm going to let the pictures talk for themselves for the next few minutes as we see the prizes awarded.
Captain Doug White.
Well, I think it was, but luckily it was a good horse. That's not giving assistance.
No, you didn't give me enough assistance.
Well, there we go.
Let's go to the gold one. Which one would you like?
Oh, here we go.
Here you go. Go with the gold one. Yes. Together. Yes, I think that's fair.
I'm not sure how you can carry all that, ladies and gentlemen. Perhaps you need to get some help from your family.
Okay, so somebody trains them.
Exactly. And his father is coming up to help to carry away the silver. A very thrilling day for the family. Up you go. The White family, supported by owning and riding the winner of the Grand Military Gold Cup this year.
There we go.
For the White family.
And red?
No, we didn't. No. He's trained by a good friend.
Well, the horse has. You have.
We have. Both.
What's it play with? Know each other.
Yeah, quite.
He jumps around the farm, basically.
It was quite soft, yeah, definitely. It wasn't sticky, it was loose. It's testing us. He seems to like it.
Very achievement. Well, many thanks.
Thank you very much.
I'm not sure whether the tree is.
Well, that as well. I'll take it as well. I'll take it off. Exactly. Right.
Well, we're very lucky to be joined by Julian Evans. racing extraordinaire that you are. What was
been dragged out from in there?
What was your reaction, Jules? I know you've been to Sandown quite a few times, and you've watched this race for many years.
I would say it's very rare to have somebody that owns, rides, trains the horse, comes here and put on a display like that in front of everybody that's here and in front of royalty as well. What a day of delight for Doug. I mean, it's going to be a long time for him when the adrenaline comes down. I imagine he'll have something just to calm the nerves a little bit later. But it all shows you, doesn't it, that winning partnership between rider and horse. And I think that's the thing.
And I assume, you know, looking at it, family are also involved in all sides of it as well. So it's a very special win for him.
Well, of course, he's with the Hussars, and he's in that sort of neck of the woods, isn't he, in Wiltshire, based in Wroughton, fantastic stable. You've got the hills round there, which is all sort of on the cusp of Salisbury Plain, so perfect environment to train a horse. And it just shows today, you know, and I really thought that you went to see
Will, yes.
Will, and you know, what a fantastic ride he had, but how disappointed will he be in that he didn't quite retain the crown from last year?
So I had a quick look over. He was standing over by Erica a minute ago, and he does look despondent. And, you know, they were really, really determined and really confident as well, but that's sport, isn't it?
Well, he and Jamie Snowden have been a winning partnership, and they hope that success would continue, but unfortunately Doug has pulled it out of the bag and delivered today. A special mention to Nathan Rahman. Nathan won earlier in the day. He was carrying a little bit more weight this year than we've seen him, but Nathan is somebody that motivates, gets on board, literally, these other riders to come in and participate in a fantastic horse racing event, which I suppose in this day and age of the modern military might still be a little bit of a quirk, but we love it, don't we? And the same with the Royal Artillery Gold Cup as well.
I'll tell you what, Doug is a very popular man at the minute. We are still waiting, that's why we're filling here, Jules. But
Filling?
Filling?
Are you accusing me of filling? I thought I was one of the leading guests.
But it is an amazing place to be. I mean, we get Twickenham every year, we get IST20 at Lord's, but this hopefully could become common ground for us if we go on to maybe cover the Royal Artillery Gold Cup as well. Can you see a future where, you know, we might know a bit more about racing and bring it to our forces?
Well, we're going to have to do our homework, I should think. We'll have to do our homework between now and then. What I think is unique is that this lives on, and so many people want to participate. You know, the riders themselves. Across all three services, we hasten to add, have to go to Newmarket. They've got special licences. You can't just pitch up and go, yeah, I'll have a go at that. And to put yourself on, 2 metres above the ground and go at the speeds that they go.
You've had a go at most sports. You've not been on a horse.
I've been on a pony trek through the New Forest. I think we got up as far as a canter. Is not
canter? Yes.
Yeah, not a gallop, a canter.
It's sort of like a fast walk.
But you're looking out. Behind us now, Chris the cameraman can't spin round, but all day we've had Chelsea pensioners here, we've had people in military here. You can't see the grandstand there, but there's an influx of people that want to come and enjoy and savour the Grand Military Gold Cup, of which today has been another fantastic day. When I used to come, it was slightly later in the year, March. They brought it forward. They brought it forward.
So the Royal Artillery now is after this in February, whereas Grand Military used to be in March, but it was, I seem to remember, in 2020, because it was off for COVID in 21, but in 2020 it was actually waterlogged, so sometimes it is cancelled because of a waterlogged pitch, so to speak.
Well, the pitch. Yeah, we saw today that the going was very soft in parts. I did the course walk earlier with some of the jockeys, and it was, for want of a better word, soft, soggy, damp,
good
squelchy.
To soft, but more soft.
More on the soft side. Definitely, I would say. But fantastic performance today, and you just wonder what next. If Doug has managed to ride, own, and train this horse, where does he stop? Yeah. And why didn't he tell us beforehand? We could have had a flutter. Made ourselves some
I don't think that on a work day we're allowed to have a flutter.
Probably not. No. Well, why don't we get some sense into this conversation? We'll bring Erica back in. My time here is done. But
thank you, Julian Evans.
My pleasure.
Good filling. Erica, come and in fact, we're going to get Doug any minute now, but stay with me, Erica. Just as you know, yes, he's going to come in here. So we've got the winning man himself. Doug, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, that was quite something, and it must be so special to you with that connection with the horse. And you fended the rest of them off, and what a brilliant win.
It was. It's a complete shock, to be honest. I wasn't expecting it at all, but yeah, I loved every minute of it. And yeah, I can't really reiterate enough how much of a shock it is, but I loved it all the same.
Maybe we need to get back to you in 24 hours, and
Absolutely,
realisation will have sunk in.
Yeah, I'm completely lost for words, frankly, but it was brilliant. Loved it.
Erica Had was brilliant with us on commentary and presenting today. She did say that it was a very tightly run race. You were sort of in the lead for a lot of it. Could you sort of feel everyone around you and feel that pressure?
Not really. No, the plan was to sort of drop him out the back because I'm often guilty of going too fast. And he blows up, but I couldn't hold one side of him, so I just let him go in the end. And then, to be honest, I wasn't really worried about the others. I was just enjoying myself too much.
Yeah, because right at the end, you had last year winners, Will, who was very confident going into this race, and he was right on the tail, but you were just heading for the line.
I was expecting to come zooming past me any minute, but he didn't, and there you go. Yeah.
And Doug, look, what does this mean now? You say you're shocked. You'll probably come to in about 24 hours and realise that it's your dream has come true. What does it mean to you? Are you going for the double this year? You're going to be in the Royal Artillery?
Yeah. I'll definitely be back for the Royal Artillery. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it enormously.
Be back next year? We're going to continue this for.
He's 10 now, so I'll just have to see what he's like next year. But yeah, I'd love to.
Well, Doug, an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, and congratulations. And we'll hopefully see you later in the year.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, as we see Doug walk off there, winner of the 2025 Grand Military Gold Cup, it's time for us here at BFBS to say goodbye as well. Do tune in over the weekend. We've got more live Rugby League Challenge Cup for you with the Royal Navy on Sunday. And then we've got British Army up against Malawi in netball next Wednesday from Loughborough. Please do join us then, and I hope you've enjoyed Grand Military Gold Cup Day.
Brilliant run, and that's going to be a sensational try for the Navy. They are over.
Navy have got it, they're going to go over for their second! First score to the Royal Navy.